Good evening, folks. Welcome to episode 16 of the Dark Roast podcast. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jan Regencia, and I have a wonderful guest. His name is John Franco. Welcome to the show, my guy.
What's going on, brother?
Appreciate you coming, man. I know we were we've took a while for us to finally get ourselves into this podcast. I know it's funny. So we actually talked about it because I think when we were at the gym. I know you were like, yo, we have so much that we could talk about, different topics and stuff like that. We just hit it
off literally right away.
Like, literally right away, right? But the funny thing is that was like, what? I'm going to say last year, to be honest, like towards the end of 2022.
Yeah, we've kind of seen each other in passing a lot over the last year.
I know.
We've just been like, we're going to have to get together at some point.
I know. Especially because like we also like go to the same gym because we work out and stuff like that. Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen you in quite some time at the gym. I think because we have different time
schedules
frames.
And stuff now.
It's been busy. But speaking of busy, like how have you been doing? Because I know you've been
just working, just kind of getting settled in, just doing stuff, just trying to stay in my routine and everything like that.
Gotcha. Wait, what do you do? Like, what's your
So right now, I just started a new position in auditing.
Oh, that's awesome!
And,
congratulations! First of all,
it's been great so far. So just kind of getting used to that, and then just working out, working on some other stuff on the side. Just been dabbling a little bit into music, trying to do some stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you like produce music or?
Yeah, just kind of learning the ropes a little bit. Been working with Biz a little bit too, so we got some cool stuff.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome. By the way, Biz was actually on one of my podcasts in the first season, so you're gonna have to check that out as well. But he's also an excellent rapper, from what I remember. Yeah. But that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Dude, I have not told, I've literally not told anyone because I want to be like,
low key.
Yeah, I'm just like, let me put my head in the dirt, grind, and then like learn something, and then after I'm decent enough, then like you
put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Is that something like you could see yourself like leaning towards in like as a career, or is it like just a side thing?
It was just kind of like the whole idea of it for me was like my whole life, like I've loved music probably just as much as like anyone, and I was like, how's everyone do that? How do they make their own beats? How do they like learn how to rap and stuff like that? And then it eventually turned into I was like, well, worst comes to worst, like I could buy everything and it could just be like kind of like a side hustle. I could bring guys in, show them what I got, and then if they want to buy my beats, or I could produce stuff for them, with their friends, I could give them for free. So it's like,
that's actually pretty dope though. Yeah. That's actually, I didn't know that, because I know like for the longest time I knew like you were focusing on like the what you had going on. So I know at one point you were an accountant at your previous job, whatever. Right now you're in auditing, right, or something like that. Yeah. So that's actually huge. But I never knew about like the side hustle behind the scenes, bro.
You know how it is at first. It's like I feel like once you like start your career, it's like all your focus is there, and you just want to kind of get that down first, and then like once you kind of get an idea of the ebbs and flows, you can kind of branch out into other stuff. And
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
man.
And I know like my stepbrother, Brandon, he's been doing it for like a little longer than I have, and then like just by going to the Golds, it's just been great because like I got to meet you, Biz, like
just like the
so many connections.
There's so many connections. Yeah, that's I was just telling like again my buddy behind the scenes. Like I was telling him like for some reason at the gym, you would surprisingly realize the amount of people that have like their side hustle, and you didn't realize like they're really good at it and very efficient at it.
There's so many interesting people. Like
that's what I'm saying,
take
right?
5-10 minutes and talk to a guy, like
but that's like the cool part of it, because like the people that go to the gym, and again this is just from the experience of being at Gold. So I don't know about the other gyms. Maybe they all have the similar experience, but they all have like some sort of like I want to like live life and be able to try out things.
Oh yeah.
Like for me,
just like the outlook of everyone that's been at Gold has just been so like elite compared to like.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever had a Gold membership, but like I've had day passes at other places and stuff like that. But it just seems like
the people at Gold,
dude, everyone just vibes at Gold, bro.
They're just vibey, and then they're all chill. Like, hey, you need a spotter? I'm like, oh yeah, I got you, bro.
Yeah,
I got you.
I feel like it's such a big like family environment. Like and it kind of like helps you build your routine because like you see the same people generally, like. Everyone kind of like talks about how their day went and stuff like that. So it's like it's not as like painful of an idea to do after you go to work all day.
You go to work all day, yeah. But it's like the will and the drive. You know what I mean? And that's like a thing that I wanted to discuss about, like the stemming of routines.
Yeah.
Because I know like routines, it's you want to get like the right routine. But then there's going to be a lot of ups and downs to get to that point where it smoothens out to that right routine. like for me, for example, I know when I do my routine, it's kind of tough nowadays because now that I started doing more of the podcast and I've started to commit to it, it actually takes a lot of your time. Like for me, I know for me, it's a lot of my time at the gym because I also have to do like other errands and stuff like that too. So my routine is kind of like I'm still trying to adjust because I had a good routine at one point. But now that I commit to something, now you're trying to change up the routine.
Yeah,
so
you're
like
just kind of scrambling.
You're scrambling. Yeah, you're scrambling.
Sure that you could still do everything.
Yeah, so it's rough because at one point, like now, I think the past month, there were half the times I would go to the gym in the mornings now because I want.
How do you like that? Is it better?
I honestly think it's a lot better just because you come in.
You get more out of your day. Right?
You get more out of your day, so like you have the rest of the afternoon to like prep your meal or just relax a little bit. And then even in the morning, you feel refreshed. Like you feel like when you go into work, and it's just like, oh wow, like I got a good
it's
pump.
definitely a huge burden. It's like off your chest because like oftentimes like towards the end of the day, like you probably get the same feeling. It's like you're like, well, my day's actually not over yet because I'm gonna go put an hour and a half in the gym, and by the time I get home, it's actually gonna be 7, 8, 9 o'clock. So
yeah. And but like again, it depends on like the scheduling. Like I like going into the mornings too. I also do like going into the afternoons just because like not only I get the work on it. Yeah, I'll be a little bit tired from work, but then having like you guys around keeps me going.
It's fun, man.
So that's the thing. So that's
to
like
go play basketball sometimes, like
So if I was in another gym and I didn't have like that type of relationship with like the people at Golds. So if I went to like I don't know Crunch or LA Fitness,
you're just
there to do whatever,
just a lone soldier.
Yeah, you just feel like damn,
it's
like
tough, man.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have a purpose being in this gym, but even though I have to because like, I want to work out and stuff, but I need people that can.
No, that's one thing I definitely will say is like they definitely made it a nice environment to be around.
Yeah,
and
shout out to Golds by the way. Yeah, shout out to Golds. Yeah,
should be sponsored. No, I was like
not sponsored, but like, come on. Go to Golds, bro. But
let me get a 7-day pass.
Yeah, I was gonna say how is your routine with you? Because I know again my routine's kind of still.
Yeah, I think
wonky.
I think routine is like probably one of the most important like building blocks to just like everything, and I mean obviously no one's routine's perfect, and you kind of roll with the punches and have to adjust here and there, but I think in general having a good routine is kind of like the foundation for like being on top of your game and
100%
expediting your process to whatever you're trying to do. But my routines these days it's pretty good, I would say. I mean I'm an early riser nowadays, surprisingly.
Well, here's the thing, as you get older you start to realize, again, not all, but majority, as you get older, you start to realize that morning, like birds, is actually a benefit just because you get whatever you get done. By the time around 5, 6 o'clock hits, you start to realize, like, oh my God, my body is not affecting right now. It's starting to slow down a bit.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I mean, we're getting older, so, but no, usually, my morning routine's typically just, the standard stuff, go to work, stuff like that. I mean, but I think that's like after that 8-hour periods when I really like try to break it down a little more because in general, like I try to go to the gym 4 days a week at least.
Just at least get your body flowing, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Because I feel like not as much routine, but I think like the gym is kind of the foundation of your routine because like if you think about it, like not only the people that you meet there and everything like that, but I feel like confidence is built at the gym. I feel like pushing yourself and like just for your mental health in general, it's just like good to show yourself that you can do it, like if you just commit yourself. And on top of that, just like I mean, I feel like the benefits are just huge, bro. I mean, like, not to kind of call any group of people out, but I think like you're more likely to be not just likable as a person, but like be successful in whatever career you're in.
I like that.
Like if you look better, to be honest, like you know what I mean,
and you get a good like you said, you get a good relationship. Like I said, we talked about it literally 5 seconds ago.
Yeah,
relationship at Golds, and I think too. Everybody has like that similar mindset,
and it just makes you better in general too, because it's like I know for me, but like I want to ask you this, like,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you feel better the next day,
Mm-hmm.
after you've, been on the consistent gym schedule and like been putting in the time all week long and like, when you're
Mm-hmm.
eating right, everything like that, like I feel like you can perform better
Mm-hmm.
in not just your job, but like how you feel and everything like that, because
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like, oh, I just got home from work,
Mm-hmm.
took a nap, had Wendy's, didn't feel like cooking, and then
And then you feel like,
yeah, I feel like it's 10 times better. Like it just keeps like that fire going until the next day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
you know what's funny? I felt that experience. Like, so I agree with you. I think the gym, for sure, like really does set the routine, because every time when I go to the gym, and then I get like a good pump in, and then I'm still like being able to converse with you guys, and then I come back, and I feel satisfied. Like I feel content. Like I got what I got done. Because when you feel like when you,
Well, that's the thing, man.
Yeah,
It's just like I feel like that's like the greatest part about the routine, is because you could start to build like sort of like a database and like kind of have more of a logic based like reasoning behind like what you do, because like if I sit there and I go like, oh man, like why can I really focus lately, or like why am I having trouble staying awake at the end of the day at work, why am I having trouble in school, or whatever the case may be.
gotcha.
And you could sit there and kind of be like, okay, well, have I been working out every day? Like, do I feel satisfied with myself? Oh, maybe not, or like whatever the case may be. But I think like that's like, for me at least, that's kind of how my like brain works. I feel like.
Got you.
Yeah.
So I have a question now that we're going into that realm.
Yeah.
Say for example, like you said, the gym for you is like the solid foundation of what gets yourself and your confidence going. At the same time too, you get a really good routine. Say if you never like went to the gym, what would you feel like the experience would be? It's just an assumption, but you would probably know your own self.
I mean, there's days, what I'm saying? Like, no one's perfect, but, I mean, I feel like if I don't go to the gym, then I feel like I didn't, like, get any better. Like, I feel like I'm going to go to bed that night and be like, I just wasted a day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's hard to recover from that. You know what I mean? You only get 7 days in a week, and
It's just like the feeling, like, I know what you mean.
I know it shouldn't
yeah.
feel like you have to, you know what I'm saying? But I think like once you build that 40 day routine where it just becomes a habit, where like it's just second nature to just go, because it like
Right.
just makes you feel better, and it's therapeutic too. Like I feel like people go relieve stress there, like get their mind off stuff, talk to other people. Like it's huge, man. Like,
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to ask the question, because I feel like in that, again, the mentality too is what drives you. You know what I mean? Like the mentality, especially going to the gym, like it builds the character, it builds you. The question when I asked that, like why I asked that, is because you would know, like your own self, like, dude, I feel like I'm wasting a day.
Yeah.
And you don't want to continue doing that, because the more you do that,
It's
the
just
more
so
you
easy
feel
to-
lost.
It's easy to fall into that trap.
You
man.
fall
and then
lost.
You just,
You
you
fall
just
lost
feel
into it.
lost. Swear to God.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it too is just like doing your like being on top of your small tasks. Like I had a coach in college, and one of his little like adages has always been like, at the very least, always be on your P's and Q's. And like to me, that's like first thing I do when I wake up. Boom, make my bed. All right, one task's done. All right, the night before, let me set myself up for success the next day. Let me lay out my clothes. All right, boom, that's done. Like I feel like if you can do those simple things, like I just feel like it just like
builds you more and more to do things.
It's just man.
Yeah.
It just feels like such like a mental relief.
Right.
That, like stuff's done, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
like
the toughest thing and the toughest challenge is to do it every day.
yeah.
Like a consistent, to the point where it just becomes like a natural habit
Man.
to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's tough. I think a lot of people are still going through it to figure out, you know what I mean? Because sometimes like there will be days where you may feel tired and lazy, but then you realize sometimes that could be the buildup of going downhill.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I feel like you could take that two different ways, because like no one's, like I said before, like no one's really perfect, and I think like everyone deserves like their mental health breaks and stuff like that, but you're right. Like, I think like days that you can't go, you might need to like kind of zoom out a little bit of that whole like mentality and just kind of like reevaluate and just, you know, be like, remember, you know yourself, and kind of just be like, all right, like, you know, I'm gonna take today, but, you know, let me go in on Saturday instead. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Gotcha. Have you ever been in a situation like that before, where you had to reevaluate yourself?
Bro, all the time. I feel like that's like, I mean, what's the meaning of life? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
I'll say what life is. Just kidding.
I mean, I feel like it's just like, it's all about just like evaluating yourself and just like looking for ways of to improve yourself and how you could efficiently like do anything. Like,
that's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope. What about like I know these would be good ones too, but like relationships, do they play a factor in, you know, that would affect, like, you know what I mean, if you ever went through like an ups and downs in a relationship with somebody, and
I think dude, personal
makes or breaks your
relationship,
mentality.
it might not just be a girl, it could be like a family member, a friend going through like something that like you kind of emotionally get pulled into as well, like dude, that stuff all the time like can wear you out. But I think the biggest thing is, like I said, like you have to know yourself and kind of like put the time in to know like how you can kind of untie that, like that mental knot, and detach yourself from all that stuff. And I know I was reading a book, it's called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I don't know if you ever read it or heard of it.
Why does that sound familiar? I never read it, but it
like
sounds very familiar.
Like, first book you read when you start getting into like spirituality and whatnot. But it says in the book, you strive to be open to everything, attached to nothing, and therefore no one will ever be able to hurt you. Yeah.
Ooh. What's it called? The 7
Spiritual Laws of Success. Yeah.
Spiritual Laws of Success. Oh, I gotta look into that book.
Yeah, it's great.
I gotta look into it. It's something like, that's another thing too. I feel like reading, like, you know, the books, like the right books that will allow you to kind of.
I feel like reading is a big cure to like anything nowadays. Like, I mean, I know we kind of started off with my routine, but like getting off topic now, it's like,
I mean, no, it's kind of correlates.
I try to read every day. Like, I think if you could put time aside, like not only if you go in open-minded, can you kind of use it as a guide to certain things. Like, I mean, there's a lot of self-help books, like especially with routine is like a good one for routine is a book called Atomic Habits. It's so good. It breaks down everything.
Bro, I gotta you gotta text me some of these books, because I gotta read them, because it's really, again, it's good for self-help. It's good for sometimes if you're lost sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of just get something like a base to kind of like work off of and be like, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? But I think also in the same breath, like, dude, reading helps with, you know, your levels of concentration, how long you're able to focus, you know, you're like just everything, like in general. Like, I feel like ever since I've been reading on a more consistent basis, I think that like I've been able to like do better at everything. Like, it's just I'm able to be more disciplined. Like, I feel like not only do I learn more, but I feel like I'm able to like focus on like something for longer, and it's like getting harder and harder, especially like in our generation, to like focus, man.
To
like,
focus, yeah.
Like,
I'm telling you,
I
bro.
mean, dude,
social media,
it's hard, bro. Like,
social media. I was gonna say this too, because I know routines. We were talking about. We also talk about to keep those routines, because then if you don't keep those routines, it can kind of lead you to like I said, we were talking about mental illness. Yeah. Social media, I think, is one of those places where it causes like those mental illness. You know what I mean? It's
no doubt.
It's crazy.
I mean, I feel like they've made it now to the point where it's becoming addicting for people. I agree. And like, I just feel like it's like it's the weirdest thing ever, because everyone thinks everyone cares, but at the same time, nobody cares. Like, nobody. And that's the thing, bro, is like, I've done it myself, and I know people have done it, and like everyone says like, dude, if I just delete all the apps for like a month, like you genuinely feel better. Like you don't really think about it at the time when you're like scrolling through and stuff, but like I feel like you just don't, like, because at the end of the day you kind of just realize like, well, yeah, I guess I really don't care what these people I don't even talk to anyway are doing. Like, right. Because like I feel like a lot of the issues that come up with mental health and social media is because you know, you see everyone posting on their stories and what they're doing on all the big holidays, and like,
right.
you know, a lot of times it's like, you know, people take their vacation and stuff, and a lot of times you're just at home scrolling like, oh man, like what am I? I'm a loser here, just like,
but because like when that's the thing, that's the tricky part. Dude. It's like you scroll, and I feel like that person's mind as they're watching the social media stuff, and people are
dopamine spike, bro. It makes you feel satisfied, like, cause, like I'm telling you, man, you go out next time you go out in public, not the gym, but in public, like out to a restaurant, to a bar, anywhere, like just kind of try to like unplug from like
the phone,
your phone, and just look around, like, dude, it's crazy.
It's
like,
I agree.
It's unbelievable now, man.
When you go on, like, you know, especially when you go on like dates or whatever, I never like look at my phone. I do my best not to look at my phone,
but it's hard.
But it's hard because you want to see what's updating, what's going on.
Yeah, and then you just like ask yourself the question, like, why? Like, why? Like,
it just
like, what am I hoping to find, man? Like, you know what I'm saying?
And it's like, and you don't want to be like, you know, you don't want to be disrespectful by looking at your phone. That just shows like, it just shows like a sign on their end, like, oh, you're not interested, or like, what's going on?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and again, when I say like when people look at their phones and they're just, you know what I mean, it creates like a story in their minds, and again, that kind of stems from the illness. You know, I just
feel like that's kind of like exactly what they were going for, like in how they design everything, and especially with like TikToks and like shorts now, it's like it's designed to just bop 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 bop.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean,
find the algorithms, and it's just kind of finding
people who just get stuck on there, bro. I've been stuck on there before during COVID, like.
Oh, well, COVID, yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's been 2 hours. What am I doing? Oh, my God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to, like, wake yourself up and be like, dude, like.
Oh, yeah. We had nothing to do in COVID, so that's one good reason. But you can also, but then again, because everyone had to be, like, 10 feet away from each other. Yeah. But there were other alternative routes.
I can understand why people did it then, but, like, I feel like now it's, like, back to what we were talking about before, I think, like, society in general, like, we kind of lack the discipline to, like, you know, focus on like, because I mean, in general, like, especially like when you're starting off, like, I feel like you, and like specifically, do you think like like, do you really have the time to sit there and scroll for more than like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, you're on your lunch, you're like, okay, well, like, nothing new happened?
Absolutely not. Like, honestly, if I ever did that, I wouldn't have this podcast. Dude,
I've been rogue.
I wouldn't be here.
I've been rogue off social media for like.
That's huge.
Maybe make 1-2 posts a year, if that. Like I've been so many places, and I don't even like post the pictures anymore, because I'm just like, dude, I don't even care. Like, I don't even go on. Like,
because the social media will always be there.
It's just like the people that are your friends, like, you talk to them anyway outside of that. So it's like,
I agree. It's what, like you said, it's eye opening when you just put your phone away, just any device, like computer, put it away, because when you look at things, you start to appreciate everything. Oh yeah. Even like the world, the nature, especially if you're gonna hike.
Dude, that was one of my biggest things, like, because I kind of went into that whole like deep dive of like learning and like understanding, like reading and getting a good routine, because like I can't even lie, like, you know, close to 2 years ago, I was like I was all over the place. I feel like I was lost. Like, I had no idea what was going on. But I think kind of killing that like urge to want to be on social media is like definitely a good step to
absolutely
to take for your mental health. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say too, because you touched up on that. Is that like where I don't want to say, because you were aware of it, but I'm assuming from 2 years ago, that's where probably like that the mental health issue was kind of lurking from, and so you were kind of like, all right, maybe I need to start moving.
Yeah, dude. I think like I said, like, just starting a routine, getting off social media, like, because a lot of it stems from like, I think it stems from like your ego, man. It's just like, like you kind of want people to think that you're living a certain lifestyle that you probably aren't. Like, you know what I mean? Or like you want to look like you're doing stuff, or you want to see what other people are doing from like a selfish place, I feel like. And I think that if you can reverse that like thought process and put it into a different place where it's just like you're just carefree, and like you just kind of just like free yourself from all that, it's like
I want to say this. I'm gonna piggyback on the thought. So my thinking of the reverse way to piggyback on that is focusing. Like I said, when you said we need to be disciplined on focusing, I always say love yourself.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about what other people think of you or judge you, because at the end of the day, like, we're in a world where everyone's judging. But
and at the end of the day, all you really have is yourself. Like, you don't know like what anyone else thinks of you, and you can't really. I think that's the biggest like takeaway that anyone could have is like, you need to like. At the end of the day, you only have yourself, and you need to like make sure that like everything up here is
on track,
and in a good direction, because like it's tough, man. It's tough for people. Like, I mean, I see it all the time. Like, you probably see it all the time too.
Oh,
it's just
absolutely. Have you ever had a feeling like you were doing? This is an interesting one because you have like a good routine, right? Say, for example, you had a good routine, but yet there's a feeling where you feel kind of stuck again. You ever had like that type of feeling where you're like, what am I missing?
I'm telling you, that is,
what am I missing?
I feel like that's like that often happens, and I think that kind of comes from like your intuition as well. Like, you ever feel like you're forgetting something, or like you feel like something might be like off or wrong, or like,
yes,
dude,
oh my
all
god,
the time I get that. And I think like you have to like be organized. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things with discipline too, is just like being organized, like knowing like what's going on and being aware, and like being perspicacious of like what's around you and what's going on, because you can't navigate in the dark. You have to have some sort of a basis, like, and start figuring out what's going on, because I think oftentimes, like I said, like there's stuff that happened all the time. Like, it could have just been like that you had your coffee late that night and you couldn't fall asleep. Or it could be something's off. Maybe a relationship that you have with someone is at
like
risk
something,
or in danger, or I don't know. But I mean, oftentimes, bro, all the time.
What are the three in your thoughts? Because what are like three things that you would do to overcome like those types of feelings when you're stuck? Like, what would you do in the moment when you feel like stuck? Like, what
I think
things?
I think it's huge because like everyone has it. Like, everyone gets anxiety. Like, everyone has their own problems. Like, like, no matter how people try to like make it appear, like everyone's got something.
Yeah, they can be like depressed at points.
Not to come from a place of like feel bad for me, but like, dude, everyone's got a sob story. Everyone's got something that's happened to them like in the past. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I think for me, it's like whenever I have issues like that, where it might be a relationship with a friend or someone like that, or it could also be something I'm nervous about with something related to work, or like whatever the case may be, or sometimes you get self-conscious, man. It happens all the time. But I think the biggest things you can do are just like, first, like, always go back to like what so like evaluate what's going on. I think like that's the biggest thing, is like it just all stems back to the routine. And I think like evaluate what's going on. Second thing I would say is like kind of just like zoom out of that whole perspective in general. Like, go for a walk, like
something like
go on a hike, go have fun with your friends, like,
or find the places that have your inner peace. Inner peace.
No doubt, bro. And I think like if you can kind of like disassociate yourself from certain things that are out of your control, it can lessen the load on your back, as well as I think it's just important to know like that if it's going to be an actual real issue, then like it'll continue to happen, and you just reevaluate it from there, and maybe have to change something later on.
But
I feel like a lot of the issues are caused by like people are afraid or kind of get anxiety from the possibilities of what could happen in the future, but like most times never happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
You ever hear the old saying where it's like you're walking around with an umbrella like because you're scared it's gonna rain? But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that happens all the time, bro.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
People are scared to like take chances sometimes, or like take that jump because they don't know what the future holds, and
it's
tough, man. It's tough.
It's
like
that's like, oh man, like I know again, I know people that are going through that just because they have a hard time trying to put their feet in the water.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, again, I don't want to say, it's definitely like in their own heads, for sure. You know, I also think they have to be, just my take on it, maybe they have to be surrounded by the right people to take that leap and guide you. You know what I mean? But it's hard because, again, it depends on like the person's like persona and who they have as their friend group, and can they help them.
That's why it's always important, because that was another thing I was going to say too, is like, another good way to keep your routine is just having a good support system. Like,
yes,
being around people that are going to push you to be your best is like probably one of the best ways you could stay organized and stay in your routine, because like, and that kind of brings it back to like the gym, is like, you know, if I know I'm working out with this person or even you, it's like, all right, then I know, like, you know, I'm going to show up and like be on my business, and the cool, I'm not going to try to sit here and BS you and make an excuse up that I can't come that day because XYZ. Like, you got to make it happen, because you kind of hold your friends accountable. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the cool part. Like, what I also like too is, and you're right, when I go to the gym, I know every single individual got done with something. Yeah. So it makes you want to keep going. Yeah. And that's like the influence that I would, you know, strive for, is keep going. I need people that can be like, yo, I got so tired, like, from work and all this stuff like that, but I'm here still, like, I want to go to the gym. I want to still grind and stuff like that. But then it allows this mental place where you're like, wait, if he's doing that or she's doing that, I got to do the same thing too. I got to keep it going also with my own path.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it could also get sticky, because that can sometimes like lead you to compare yourself to others. But at the same time, I feel like if you can use that framework as like motivation to be like, all right, you know, I pulled up to the gym and I see you run on the treadmill, like, like that's gonna fire me up to go and run a mile, like,
exactly,
and compete. I feel like that's like staying in a peaceful and competitive environment, I think, is the best way to like
evade the mental illness and all that overthinking, divulge into the unknown. Divulge into the unknown, people, because if you don't take a step into the unknown, you might not know what you got in stores for yourself. You know what I mean?
Life if you never take a chance.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I feel like some people, you want to help them, but it's just like, it's really up to them. Yeah, you know, I mean, and you don't want to take up an energy.
Dude, we were all that person at one point too, and it's just like, you just kind of got to go through it and learn it yourself, and it's hard to try to explain stuff to people who might not be ready for that information yet. And it's okay, because everyone's on, like, you know, their different like paths and everything like that. But like, I mean,
if you need people,
it's definitely important though, for sure, to just make sure that, you know, you have your bases covered.
Because those bases like will remind you, like, I'm here, I'm good. Especially like the supporting cast will tell you, like, even if like I know you probably have like a very close inner circle that you really talk, like, deep talks, like straight, like, like scary hour.
I mean, anyone who tells you that like they don't talk to anyone about anything is everyone's talking to someone.
Exactly, close friends. Like I have like my strong inner circle. Like, I'll be telling them, like, yo, like, am I good? Like, sometimes I feel like I'm out of place. It's
all about man. I
think like, you know what I mean?
It's just
like,
having a brotherhood, because I think like in general, it's important to, like I said before, just be around people, because at the end of the day, you know, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And I think that
was that part of the book where you're like, you're
I don't know where I heard that from, but I feel like that's just been like a generalization. Like, you know, you hang around this type of people, you know, that's probably like in the area you're gonna wind up in.
I got
but
you.
And it's just always being around like people you trust too, like having close friends that you trust, and you kind of that, you know, they have your best interest at heart. So like, you know, if you're ever like doubting yourself, and you could be like, yo, like, is it me or what's going on? Like, and then there's like, nah, bro, like, you're telling me, like, all right.
Like, you're good. Like, trust me. If I would tell you you're good, like, you're good. Trust me.
Right. Yeah. Bro.
And then even better too, they'd probably tell you, like, you know what, like, you're still doing your routines. You know what I mean? I think it's like more so they would tell you, like, look, I think you're mentally ready to take another elevation. You're just gonna figure out the answers later down the road. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it, because I feel like sometimes, like, being stuck is not really like a bad thing.
No.
Sometimes when
well, I think you have to be stuck to learn and start your journey into like how to become unstuck. Because like it's not like something that just happens once and then you never get stuck again. Like
it's not like you're given a silver platter and you have to like go through hell to get to finding out who you are and getting through that.
That's something that's like super important that I feel like people don't like put in focus at the forefront, like really, and as much as I feel like it should, because I think like it's important to sit there with yourself and like sometimes like spend time alone and just like figure out who you are, because I think like once you figure out who you are and like what you're good at and what you like and what your passions are, that's the only way you can form a plan for like how you're gonna shape your life.
Like your future. Yeah. It's amazing to see like, you know, how you've come a long way, how I've come a long way, you know, like thinking about like all that, it made me realize all the stuff that I went through. And it's just like, holy crap,
it's so funny because I had a similar situation, because like once I like sat there and was like, dude, why does this keep happening? Like this is like I would keep trying, like the same thing would just keep happening. I'm like, dude, what am I doing? And once I like realized, I was like, oh yeah, like why do I give a fuck?
It's like, why do I care? Like, I'm just gonna keep.
I had the same exact thought. I just started laughing. Like, to my like out loud. Like just one night in my room, I was like, "What am I doing right now? Why do I care?" Like, you know, what I'm
right? Because like that's the thing. Because when you start to figure out like, all right, like whoever, if it's about a person, right, and you find out like, all right, I figure out what it is. I think I'm starting to realize like this is becoming toxic.
Yeah.
So at this point,
if I keep, important to just that's another thing too, is like
cutting
you always
off.
want to keep.
Gotta cut off people, bro.
Keep toxic people at an arm's length.
You gotta cut off.
You don't want to give. Yeah, if not cut them off. Yeah, but like you don't even want to give. That's why like, I mean, everyone's had to cut other people off before, and
as you get older, you have to, because sometimes like not.
I feel like that's one of my biggest things I grew on this year was like, I was like, I don't even feel like some of these things like require a response, and honestly, like I'm not even gonna give someone the opportunity to like mess up what I've been working for. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's your mental health, it's like I'm not even gonna give you the chance to bring that into my
your realm.
Space.
Your realm.
Yeah.
I think too. You don't want to waste energy. You don't want to waste time for people that really don't.
I mean, that's a big thing, bro.
It's a big thing because it's too much energy,
Energy's huge, man.
It's a big deal.
Huge. I think that's like one of the biggest things about finding yourself too is like you kind of learn like how to spend your energy and how to take energy and kind of like move it or take it from other places and kind of create stuff with it, and that's like one of the biggest things.
I agree.
In everything is like. Because and a lot of times like you don't even know it, but like people anytime you think of issues you have or whatever, that person's just draining that energy from you.
Oh yeah. And I'm already assuming you've had that.
Oh yeah, everyone's had that.
Yeah, it was,
but then you learn and you get better and you realize
yeah,
oh yeah.
it's crazy too, because it's just like, damn, like we had a really good relationship and stuff, but when you find out the answer, is like, yo, why am I so bothered by this every time? And it's causing me mental drainage every time.
Well, like I said, a lot of it's the ego that you just have to let go and just cut your losses, man. And it's like, if
conservative energy, man, get the energy back.
Your close friends are going to be your close friends and act in your best interests as if you would for them, no matter what anyway. So like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's not your loss if you have to, if it's protecting, yourself and your mental health. To have to cut someone off.
Oh, absolutely. Like you need to. You need to. Going to it, right? Because we talk more into like, trying to conserve and avoid like the mental illness. Any like advice or anything, maybe even for viewers trying to overcome like the depression, because again sometimes they can be legitimate diseases.
I think because I mean mental health is obviously no joking matter, and like a lot of stuff's real, but I think a lot of times in depression itself, it's kind of it's hard because you sit there. I mean, it's different for everybody, but a lot of times it's like you sit there and you go through a couple weeks, days, months, and then you realize like the only way to get out of it's just to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you just kind of have to be real with yourself and just be like, where I am now is a product of the decisions I've made in the past, and I have to sit there and realize that I can't keep pointing fingers, and some way, shape, or form I probably messed up, whether I was conscious about it or not. But now it's time to pick yourself up and just kind of start taking the steps you need, because it's hard when you sit there and marinate in depression or whatever the case
sit on your
be.
phone, and like that's more,
because that's the biggest thing is like once you convince yourself mentally you're depressed, that's when it's like you don't do anything, like you don't go to work no more, or like even if maybe you might not have a job, but you don't go to the gym, you don't eat healthy, it just turns into a snowball, bro, and then eventually just
it becomes a loop.
Yeah,
becomes like a trap card, like you said. It's a trap card, and it just yeah. I asked that question too because everybody has their own thoughts and opinions of how to handle like the depression or any general mental illness or health.
I mean, it's definitely not. It's not easy, man, because no one wants to believe it. Sometimes whether you're aware of it or not, that like well, maybe you should have cut that person off, because then if you did cut them off in the first place, then all this other drama wouldn't have happened, and da 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 da. But in some way, shape, or form, I think there's an accountability factor that needs to be taken into when you're feeling depressed, because at least from there
you're aware of it.
You can grow. Like you can sit there and be like, because a lot of times people get depressed because they think they've tried everything and there's no other way, that like, and they're just stuck because they're either A, not good enough, or B, they're completely missing something and they don't know what it is. But I think that if you look yourself in the mirror and just kind of just like be real with yourself, then you could sit there and use that as the framework to like, okay, well, tomorrow let me start going to the gym.
Self-reflect.
Tomorrow, yeah, you have to suffer. You got to suffer through it, and you got to build your routine back up, get back in the gym, feel confident about yourself again. Go out there, feel confident, get a better job, get a better, everything. And then, most times once you kind of clear that mindset, and I don't want to say laziness, but that like low self-loathing, you're just like, you generally feel like cured, like without even noticing it. Like, yeah. And it just kind of becomes more of like something that, and the more and more it happens, like, because everyone doesn't just get depressed once then come out of it, but a lot of times it's hard because you have to detach people, and like, because a lot of people get depressed when they have a breakup or when something doesn't go their way, and then
which is a
so
norm,
every time you get
yeah,
but it's just like it never works, because until you're cool with yourself, and like until you know yourself and are happy with yourself, every time something bad happens to you, or every time you have a relationship and doesn't go your way, then you're going to go right back into that same thing, and then your whole mental framework is going to be based on the next relationship you have, and you're just kind of living and dying on someone else. It's being dependent on someone else's actions, and it's hard to navigate through life that way.
Dude, I like that. How old were you when you were like having that type of self-awareness? I feel like you got to...
I realized this when I was 22, because I mean, generally, like, I was the type of kid who was like, I kind of always knew, like, I mean, social media is probably not great to be on all the time, stuff like that, or like, I always figured I was smart enough, but I always just did enough to skid by, because I was just so unsure, like in my like high school and like adolescent days, is because because you kind of sit there and realize like people would rather be wrong in the majority than right in the few, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that just goes like for everything, and I think like at that time I didn't really know, but what I did know was like if these people were doing this or saying this, then like whether it's right or wrong, I don't really care. I'm just gonna agree, like, or like I'm not gonna. But I feel like as you get older, you kind of, and you probably know this, like, and you kind of start shaping your life. Like, you kind of have to become more like self-aware and kind of not no, I wouldn't say like a maverick or a lone wolf, but you kind of have to.
You would, like you said,
You
know
have to
your.
go through that stuff and go and be okay with yourself and like know yourself and and just like trust that like
Oh
the
yeah,
steps you take are like the right ones. You know
they're
what I'm
like the
saying?
right.
Like,
Yeah,
because I mean, that's the biggest thing too. Is like even if you are making the wrong steps, I think that if you can still build yourself up to have the confidence to not think they're the wrong steps, you're probably gonna end up in a better place than you would have if you were guessing
absolutely,
yourself.
absolutely. Like I said, we said this earlier, where you have to put your feet in the water or divulge into the unknown. There are going to be some things that you'll try, and half the times they're probably not going to work. You know what I mean? If it doesn't pan out for you,
I mean, it's
yeah,
that's life, man.
It's life.
It's never perfect. It never happens the first time.
Exactly. But I rather make the mistakes.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I think that's how like, I kind of figured it out. Is like whatever you want from
at age 22.
life or whatever you want from whatever situation you may be in. I believe, like I said, that you have to establish a logical like trial and error and be like, okay. Like, I want to do this, like, whatever it may be. Let me try this. Okay, that doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Okay, let me figure out. Let me try a different angle. Let me try doing it this way. Okay, that didn't work, but it didn't fail as bad as the other one. So maybe I'm on something. And then you just go from there. And it's just like, whatever it may be, whether it's you want to become a better chef or you want to, become a famous whatever, like you, or you want to, get views on your TikToks or whatever the case may be. It's just like, I feel like there's a big trial and that's like the framework of like learning, man. Is like,
yeah, but that's a big key, a big difference. You know what? There's a question of, like you said, I like the mentality you have because you're trying to improve. But then there's going to be also some people that try it, and just don't think, they just get discouraged. And so it's like hard, it's too, yeah, it's like, how do you go about it?
The thing is
crazy.
Like,
yeah,
if no one's ever tried, like, then like no one would have ever been successful, because I think that like once you set your mind to something and you're confident with how you move, I think that you know you don't your other people's opinions and like you being scared of like getting made fun of for whatever it may be, and like it kind of just dies, because you're just like,
you tried.
Well, what do I care what this person said or thinks?
Exactly.
Because they're not going to where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not doing what I'm doing. And
it's crazy, because and this is probably one of those reasons why people are afraid to go in, because the thinking.
Well, the biggest, like, that's kind of how it connects to social media, because it's like everyone cares about the opinions
of what other people think.
Yeah. And, I mean, like I said, in certain, areas that, you should kind of care what your family thinks, or like maybe your close friends think, and like, but I'm saying, like,
don't be discouraged.
Don't let don't let other people's opinions, back you into a corner because you're scared of how you're gonna look publicly for it.
100%.
Because like, I mean,
100%.
You hear it all the time. People are like, if I never said what I said and did what I did on whether it's music or whatever, then I probably would never been successful. And I think you have those are part of the ebbs and flows of like working towards what you want
to be as a person, as a character. Building that, you have to touch water just to get there. You know what I mean? And you have the sources that you got Biz helping you out. You know what I mean? Like, you got connections, you got the links.
Especially in today's world, that's why I think like it's crazy, because
it's the advantage we have.
Yeah, man.
It wasn't that much back then, bro.
Yeah, man. I think like any information you need for anything you want to do, if you look hard enough and put enough time in and focus and research, like, you could basically find anything you're looking for online somewhere, bro. Like,
I see what I got to do. You know what I mean? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. But it's just like, I feel like with the amount of information that's like on the internet, like, there's no excuse
we don't
to not at least like put yourself on the right track. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, even the old heads, they'd be like, again, they don't know the technology like as much as we do because we're like the starting generation to
but even me, bro, like I feel like
right?
like everyone's like, oh dude, you're a young guy, like shouldn't you know how to do XYZ? Like I'm like, dude, I just learned barely I barely know how to use Excel. Like I only know how to do like I'm not even scratching the surface of what it's actually capable of,
conditional formatting.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude,
bold. I know how to bold.
I just learned how to Command F. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a tech guy, man.
Yeah, I actually got. Speaking of Excel, I actually had to. So, this is a good example. So, in my workplace, you know, I do a lot of Excel. Okay. Like I do a lot of data sheet.
Me too.
Yeah. So keep in mind too, like I never really got into the advanced Excel. I only know like just like what you said, the simple steps. I only know how to copy, paste, cut, paste, bold, underline.
Right.
So obviously those are like the minimal things that you need, especially when you have raw data. Mm-hmm. So what I did, now this is where it kind of aligns with what we're talking about in our conversation. I talk to myself in my head. I'm just like, how do I become better at Excel? I don't want to be the perfect Excel person or master.
It would take you years to master.
Exactly. Yeah. Only like you gotta.
But you basically want to learn how to navigate it as efficient as possible. Within your parameters of what you're trying to do.
Exactly, right. and to help out the company so we can get some revenue. And so I went on Udemy. I was like, you know what?
That's what I'm saying. Bro.
One of my coworkers was like, you gotta try Udemy. You got like beginners to advanced. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. $20. Like it was $20 for the full. I was like, and you get a certification. Dude, I did it, bro. I was like, yo.
That's another thing too, dude. Is like there's like
so many you
want to do. There's so many things. There's so many like learning outlets that you could just like pay $20 for a BS class and just like learn whatever you need in like a day. Like
you can even go on Google and type like you can literally how to solve mental illness.
That's why I don't have like sympathy anymore. I feel like for
people going through
for laziness,
like, because
I understand that I understand that mental illness is serious and like
because
depression's real, but like
it's a real thing. But
if you don't want to help yourself, and you're lazy, like then I can't, like no one could really help you, man.
It's a different ball game. There's a big difference between actual like disease depression and just being lazy, because being lazy, you can make the decision to step your game up, but you chose.
Like I said, it's I feel like it's harder nowadays to fail than it was back then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I said, like people make money online. You don't literally even have to leave your house anymore. Like there's fully remote jobs. Like like
nowadays, like
if you went to high school, you can at least get $20 an hour. Like
I know, it's crazy.
Saying? So it's like
back then, what was it, like $7.50 is the minimum wage, bro? Yeah, come on, now they have like $15, $20, and I'm saying like, why can't we get that? Well, then again, the only problem is everything is like prices are going up crazy.
Oh, dude, that's another thing. I went to IHOP Sunday with my girlfriend, and I'm scared. For some reason, prices. we were just craving pancakes for like a week or two, and I was like, you know what, fine, let's go to IHOP, whatever, dude. It's crazy now, bro. The prices of stuff, like, I know, bro. It's unbelievable, bro. Like, dude, IHOP, no appetizer. Obviously, it was breakfast. Like, you know,
you get a nice pancake.
One pancakes and whatever shit. Dude, $53.
No, well, like pancakes, like
dude, pancakes, side of bacon, whatever. I think. An egg, and I'm like,
oh, what's wrong with you?
It's crazy, bro. Like you can't
$53.
You can't. It's expensive, bro. You can't go out. I mean, dude, I don't know if you're a big coffee guy, but I know I am.
Yeah, I am.
I think for me, caffeine is like I feel like I'm on a limitless pill, bro. Like like I feel like I can be so much more productive, and like my brain just like the wheels turn like exponentially faster.
How much coffee do you drink every day?
I would say
I'm on
cups, or are we talking like 20 ounces like from like Dunkin'?
No, let's say standard cups. God damn.
Dude, cups, dude, I'm on 4, 5.
Woo!
4, 5. I think the last time I drank a coffee is before I go to the gym.
God damn. But here's the thing, because you got accustomed to the caffeine, so probably like you drink 1 or 2, it doesn't even like. Well, then again, because you say
I don't know. I think I have an issue, like a genetic mutation, because I feel like I wake up in the morning and coffee wakes me up.
It does.
But I could drink coffee late at night and fall asleep in 2 seconds. Like I have no problem falling asleep.
Me too, actually.
Ever. I don't know why, but I've never had an issue falling asleep right after I've.
It's so weird. At first, I did have an issue falling asleep, but then I guess as soon as I got accustomed to drinking, for me, the max I can do is 2.
Yeah.
Like I could drink one or 2. Yeah. It depends on the day of how busy it gets. I'm also like, if you look at my size too, like my frame, I'm like literally like 2'6" dwarf size. You know what I'm saying? But like. Yeah, I mean, you might find me with like the Snow White and like the 6 other dwarves. Like, yourself, what do you mean? Like, it's true.
No, but dude, even a coffee from Dunkin', like I have my own cold brew maker because just.
You have a cold brew maker, man. I gotta stop by your place, bro.
Go to Marshalls, bro. You'd be surprised if you find in like the home ec section of Marshalls.
But what about like the prices?
It's just, dude. I'm telling you, it is exponentially more cost effective to get your own coffee beans and just like.
Okay, good point.
Do it at home because, dude, a Dunkin' coffee is $5 now. Starbucks.
That is true. Starbucks like $6, bro.
And they make you and they ask you to tip too. That's the craziest part, bro.
They tip? Oh.
They ask you if you want to leave a tip.
I don't think I heard. Wait, which is it? Dunkin' Donuts?
No. At Starbucks.
At Starbucks.
Starbucks. You put your card like, cause you know how like they don't take your card anymore, like they just put the little like receiver
the Verifone thing. Yeah.
Dude, you always have to click like no thanks to the tip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, for what? You're doing your job.
Yeah, I never really. Sorry guys, but I put no thanks also. Unless it's like a restaurant.
No, I'll tip at a restaurant, man.
Yeah, if it's a restaurant, I'll do that.
I have no problem.
Bar.
I respect people who are in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, if you're a bartender, yeah, I can do that. That's fine.
Yeah, man, you need to bust your ass. You need to hustle. You know, I'll give you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're 15-20%, but I mean, if you're making my coffee.
It's like, bro, it's the same thing.
I feel like if my order was extraneous, you know, maybe, you know, but I mean, you just gotta,
just,
you know what I'm saying?
That's all you need. That's all you gotta do. That's
I don't get anything crazy.
Yeah. Like, another thing too, because you know, we talk like this is actually now I'm like aligning things with like the anxiety and the illness and stuff. I always feel like too, like caffeine can also be one of those things that causes anxiety.
I've thought about that, but like I don't know. I feel like I really don't get as much anxiety as I used to, or like feel like I should from coffee, because I think like I don't know. I just, like I said, I just feel like it just works for me, and that's kind of just like, I feel like it has no downsides personally.
Yeah, it also
and so I mean,
there was actually a time I actually did have a little bit of anxiety, but it was because to the day it was like it was at work too, because it was like a time where like it was like an end of the month kind of thing, so there was a lot of pressing. So I did drink like 2-3 cups of coffee, and I actually kind of I know, like I was like low-key having like anxiety because
you can get if you overdose on coffee, but like
almost like,
if you consume too much caffeine in a short amount of time, like you definitely get like
that anxiety.
You start sweating. Dude, it's happened to me before. Because like, I mean, once I get to the office, I kind of like take advantage of how nice they are by giving us free coffee.
Free coffee, yeah.
So almost like, but I have to space it out. But I don't know. I think if you really want to take a deep dive into it, I think alcohol gives anxiety and depression in a way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with drinking, because like, you know, everyone loves to drink, but I'm saying I often find myself the next day like more anxious, or like feel like I have like
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. And I think it's actually like, I was listening to a podcast. I forget the doctor's name. I should remember. I don't know why my memory's failing me. But,
it'll probably pop up as.
But you know, I think that there's actually a link between like depression, like anxiety, and alcohol, and if you like if you drink too much or too often, that you can experience like hangxiety, they call it, or
is it hangxiety?
Yeah,
the fuck
it's called. It's an anxiety, or you get anxious. Like when you have a hangover, or like just like surviving the next day.
Fuck, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. I haven't. I mean, everyone's. You know how it is. I mean, everyone's had that day where they're just like, It sucks. But I think for me
Typical
now, it's
Sunday.
like, but you know how it is though. It's like I feel like once you get into a good routine, like, dude, like I can go out and have a couple, but I can't get hammered anymore, man. Like I think like
that's
because if the problem is like I have too much going on, like.
No, you got some other things to do besides drinking alcohol.
And it's just like,
you know
and it's just like,
yeah.
I feel like if my day the next day is ruined, or like I'm not gonna be able to be productive, then like I have to call it after like 2 or 3 drinks, bro. Like you know what I'm saying?
You can feel like doo-doo, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like that's
dude, you probably know too, man. Me too. Like there's been times where it's just like you go out, you know, you get home 3-4 in the morning and you're in bed all day Sunday. Like, you don't
feel like
you don't move. You just eat once. And you just go back to bed. Like
oh no,
It's just hard, bro.
It's hard, bro. Yeah. Once you have like you're into your routine, it's hard for you to just sit there. Like I can lay down for a little bit, but then I need to get up. Like my mind's already set on. You gotta get up, go get your car wash or something.
Oh, you just
go
have to
clean up the house or something.
Well,
like
thing, bro.
oh
it's like
my
how
god,
you could always fall back onto like your routine of just like. So I feel like it just helps you be mentally strong because like even for me, it's like. I really like. I'm not a big like. Oh, wake up, take a cold shower. Like,
no,
you know what I'm saying. But like, I feel like if you wake up in the morning and you're like, all right, I'm not gonna sit on my phone for 30 minutes and watch whatever I missed the night before when I was sleeping. Like, I'm just gonna get up right away, boom, like make my bed and then just start right away. Like, if you can not procrastinate in the morning, I feel like that's just such a huge like boost to like the rest of your day.
We talked about the structure of where mental illness is coming from. We already talked about like what are your ways of, you know, handling mental illness, because obviously it's something like, you know, that could potentially
it's tough.
It's
bro.
tough.
Like
yeah,
I just feel like I've seen like everyone's seen it, bro. Like especially with like social media, like it's a big topic, and I think like it just needs to be like
it needs to be heard.
It's something that just needs to be heard, but B, like you just be aware of it and just like be able to know how to get yourself out of it.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Get your shit together, people. You know what I'm saying?
But
because
I think traveling's like a huge like way to like relieve like your stress, bro. And I know you're a big traveler.
Oh, bro, I can't wait to go to the Philippines, bro. I really could because
traveling's the best.
Yeah, I feel like at peace. There's like a couple things.
On top of that, I feel like the more you explore like and travel around the country or the world, like you
start to appreciate.
You learn more
culture
about like
the culture.
Not only the culture, but I feel like you're just like you just become more like well-rounded and kind of aware of like everything. And I think that it's definitely like a huge like huge
boost to like kind of like you know get the.
And on top of that, like I feel like it's easier to find peace like in places that you may have never been to before. Like for me, like. I feel like whenever I go somewhere for the first time, like whether that's like somewhere like in Florida or Texas or wherever the case may be, like I feel like it's like I feel like it's relaxing to like be like, oh yeah, like phones off at the beach. I don't give a fuck what's going on.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
I have no worries. Like
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, and especially being away.
It's huge.
Yeah, I love. Like for me with traveling, a couple things that I feel like my inner peace is traveling, dancing for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah, like I love dancing.
Dude, I gotta take a dance class, man.
Oh, dude, it's pretty. Bro, I can teach you some couple moves. Don't ask me about salsaing and all that stuff because I'm not that good at that. I'll have somebody else that can teach me. But anything else like with like hip hop or freestyle or whatever, you let me know.
Yeah, dude, that's dope.
I just throw whatever.
We'll definitely have to hit you up on that for sure.
No, absolutely, bro. You let me know, bro. We literally at the same gym.
Yeah, we'll just go in the freaking in the yoga room.
Oh yeah, or the yoga room, or like the GGX dance room, which is like yeah. So you let me know. But you know, just to finish off the touches of the podcast, they are like the inner peace for me and appreciate things. It makes me realize like that's one of the big things because like it makes me realize like, yo, being at home is always going to be there for me, but there's things out there that I won't see and I won't be able to appreciate.
That's the biggest thing, man. Is just like
it's awesome.
Live while you're young. And that doesn't mean don't be at home. Like if you need to spend time with yourself and like you know you're anxious or whatever, like
do it.
Figure your stuff out at home. But
figure yourself out.
I think learning your inner what brings you peace and happiness and joy and just kind of just tunneling in on that stuff and just like staying motivated and working towards your goals without worrying about what other people are gonna think is like.
I love that.
Number one, bro.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's why, again, having you on the show and being able to provide all that information, it's a big effect. It's a big effect for like most viewers, because I know they could also be going through stuff like that. You know what I mean? And they need to hear somebody that also like, what do I do from here? Where's like my guiding path?
Even if like you don't even need the advice, but like you just want to feel reassured, like in your mind frame, like it's just huge. Because like I know at one point, I sat there like I just like tuned the world out, and I was like, all right, like I gotta figure this out. Something's gotta change. Like,
yes,
I gotta, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's in some capacity everyone kind of goes through that somewhere along the line.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
like,
absolutely. But
that's tough time, bro. Like it's tough.
It's tough time, but
to go through that. You know what I'm saying? If especially if you don't know like how to navigate that. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you don't have a big support system, or maybe you do. But
at the end of the day, that's where the growth comes from. You have to find things that will get you over that hump. And it's going to be levels, but it makes you build your character. It makes you build who you are and where you currently stand. And you're still going to be growing until the day like you die.
Just adding value to yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. Folks, make sure to love yourself, value yourself, and be aware of your own illness. That's all I can say. Thank you for coming, by the way. Appreciate you.
Thanks
Guys, stay tuned for episode 17. Appreciate you, John, for coming onto the show.
Problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And like I said, from this topic, make sure to always, be self-aware of yourself, and make sure anything that you kind of feel yourself in a downward spiral, make sure you literally have that peace of mind to find those places. So, thank you for coming by. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.